What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be telling you how to edit your sports photos, or at least a way to edit your sports photos, as well as giving you a review of a product that was sent to me by a company that basically helps you edit photos. So I'm going to show you guys how to go from this to this and from this to this in Photoshop. So let's get right into it. So first off, we're going to get our photo. We're going to click on the smart object icon, and that's going to take us into Camera Raw, and this is where we're going to be doing our editing. So in a lot of these shots, big thing you're editing is the difference in the foreground and the background. So as you can see in the first two, that's actually how it came out in my camera. And you either have to expose for one or the other. So if I had exposed for the player that's in the foreground that I'm shooting, the subject was a lot darker in both pictures, so the background would have been blown out. And when you blow something out, you can't get it back. And it's easier to bring up the shadows. So a way to fix this is set up lights. And that's how studio photography looks so cool. But when you can't set up lights, you have to just use whatever the environment is giving you. So in these instances, we had a brighter background than foreground. So we had to expose for the background a little bit to keep the foreground, or to keep the background from getting blown out, and then edit the foreground image to sort of match that. So I'm gonna do that again with these two. We'll start with this one. And what you're gonna do is either put a Camera Raw filter on it, or just click this icon here, and then you'll go into Camera Raw. And we're just gonna start tweaking it. And the way you can edit your foreground and background separately is by going into this mask. You can click subject. You can also do sky or background. So that selects your subject, which is super nice. And then we can edit him separately from the background. So if we want him to be brighter, we can boost the highlights. If we want him to be more contrasted, we can drop the shadows. I think I'm gonna bring up the shadows a little bit, just so that he stands out a little more. Maybe I'll drop the blacks down a little bit and bump up the whites a little bit. And then we can also give him as much texture as we want without affecting the blur in the background. So you want that contrast between the foreground and the background. That's what makes photos look good. So I'll just mess with the texture and clarity a little bit. Usually this gets bumped way up, but I'm not gonna mess with it too much. And then we'll just boost the sharpness. Then we'll go back to the main adjustments and just see if we want to tweak anything in the background or not. And mess with the saturation a little bit. Kind of like the desaturated look. So we'll do that. So that's how you separate your foreground and background, bring them together. And we'll do it one more time here. So you're gonna click on the icon, and then we'll tweak this a little bit to get it where we want it. So I want to keep the background fairly dark. Bring up the highlights. Boost the whites a little bit. And now we can go into our subject. Super nice that it automatically masks him out. You can remove the red overlay. It's just showing you what it selected by clicking that, and then mess with the exposure. There's a lot of shadows here, so we're gonna need to tweak those. I might boost the saturation a good bit on him. We might tweak this a little bit too. I think I like it better there. Yeah. Looks pretty good. And then we'll give him some texture to really separate him from the background. A little bit of clarity. Sharpness. And that's looking pretty good. So I think we've got that about where we want it. That's basically the same effect. That's how you get your photos looking really crispy. You want that background to be blurred and faded, and you want the foreground to be high texture, high resolution. So now that we have that, I'm going to dive into this product review of a product called Dehancer. And the goal of the product is to basically emulate a film look, which sort of takes good quality stuff and seemingly degrades it to make it look like film, because film is like older, lower quality photos seemingly. But there are some cool effects in here that can change the way your photos or graphics look. So I'll use it on some photos and use it on some graphics, and we'll just kind of mess around with it together. This is my first time being in here, so we're going through it together and we'll see what we think. So you're gonna click on filter, go down to Dehancer, Dehancer film. And basically they have a bunch of presets of just looks. Like that one's pretty interesting, very noisy, sort of flatter. So you can also see what color, how the color is changing and how the lighting is changing based on the background here, because the background's white and it's affecting that as well. So basically they have a bunch of different presets, and this is like what I put on the end of most of my graphics are presets like these, but they have like way more options than I previously had. So that's super nice. This one looks really cool. It's got some, I think that's called halation around the white area right there, the Brixton, which is like an orangish glow, sort of. All of this is like made to just basically look like different film shots, is what my understanding is. Yeah, I mean, most of these presets look like, you know, if you picked up an old baseball card of Dylan Cease, this is what it would look like. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna mess with the individual sliders instead, just because I like doing it myself. So yeah, again, it has just the color differences and then the whole presets together. So let's go over here. We're back on original, and you can just see all of the different effects that it has. So we have exposure, temperature correction. Some of these you can do in Camera Raw, like I just said. Looks like all these sliders are things that could be done in Camera Raw. So we'll move on from there. Let's see. Film developer. So this is a contrast changer. Gamma correction. I'm not even really sure what that is. Change that back. Color separation. I don't know what that is either. Color boost. Okay, so that's almost like saturation and desaturation. Let's try film compression. So this is basically like flattening the image. So there's like highlights and shadows, and it seems like it's like sort of pulling them together, which is normally like in most things the opposite of what you want. But again, it's emulating a film look, so that's sort of what it's going for. That's kind of cool. It's like boosting the whites. See, each of these, like I wouldn't want normally my photos to have a film look, but these individual sliders can give like cool effects that I would probably want to use. So I think that's where it would benefit me and possibly you as a designer. So it seems to be doing the same thing for the darker areas. And then Same thing for the lighter areas. Let's just keep going down the list. So print. I don't really print stuff off, so I'm not gonna mess with that. Color head. So that's tweaking the basically white balance. Same thing here. It's kind of what we just messed with in the other photo. Shadow tone. So I think most of this stuff you can do in, most of the stuff I believe you can do in Camera Raw, the stuff that I've gone over so far. But let's continue to go down the line. All right. So you have to click it to check on it. And then you can add different grain amounts, I guess. Film grain, yeah. So that could be a cool effect to use. I've actually been like looking to use that in some graphics that I've made, and I haven't really seen a good way to do it. It always looks bad for some reason, but that looks pretty solid. Halation. So this is what I was talking about. This could be kind of cool to put as like a final touch on graphics, because it's basically like a glow around the edges of the brighter areas. So it's kind of cool. You can just see it like sort of glowing in certain highlighted areas, and that's one I would probably use a lot, one of the settings. Bloom will probably be the same way. Bloom is sort of like a glow effect, which makes the highlights sort of bloom, if that makes sense. So we're gonna mess with these sliders a little more. Yeah, so you can see it's super subtle, but there you go. So that's sort of like showing you what it's doing. So that's a really harsh look at it, and basically it's just making those highlights glow some. So that's another cool effect. That's sort of what I do at the end of a lot of my graphics. So could just be an easier, better way to do that. And then you can also change the saturation of that glow. So that's kind of nice. All right, yeah, so this also sort of shows you the intensity of the effect. So that's pretty cool. That's one I'd probably use a lot. Bloom and halation. We'll take that off. Film damage. Ah, okay, so it's like built-in like scratches almost, or like artifacts. That one you can see the best. Yeah, basically it's just like built-in film artifacts is the best way I would describe it. Overscan. Oh, that's sick. That's super easy. So this could be a super nice, easy preset, basically. Again, sometime, like, a lot of you might not be into this at all, and then there may be a few of you that are like super into this sort of thing. So I don't mess with a lot of film. So for me, this sort of thing is sort of like new, and I don't really know what I'm doing, but pretty cool effects. A lot of options and ways of doing things. And then we have a final effect. It's vignette. So this is more of a subtle vignette than I am used to. Usually they're more intense, like the ones in Camera Raw filter. There you go, you can really see it there. Definitely, you know, add some focus onto him, if that makes sense, as the main subject. So that's basically all your settings. Let's just try it on a graphic. Let's just try it on this UNC graphic and see how that goes. 4x5. Let's crop our image down so that's just the graphic, because I don't want any extra, you know, bars on the outside. Again, there's a lot of presets you can go through. The black and white ones are really cool. Like there's the halation looking preset, and for this graphic I probably wouldn't do it, because, which I kind of figured, because it's like I want it just to be blue, and this makes it, you know, this gives it a little more orangey and red look. But definitely a cool effect. It would work on that Baker Mayfield graphic, I think. Like that looks really clean. So let's go back to the top here. Oh, I didn't know you could scroll in and out. Let's go to original. Ah, so you can scroll in and out of the photo or graphic. That's nice. All right, let's go straight to bloom and see what we can do here. Yeah, that's basically the effect that I put on the end of my graphics. So that's like a lot of where I would use this. And probably that and the halation. There may be some times where I'd use some of the other things, like the, you know, grain and the overskin look. Like those are kind of cool. Like I probably wouldn't use those a lot if I'm being honest. So they told me to give an honest review. Let's go to their page. So this is their pricing. It's a lifetime membership for $200, 1 year, 130, 6 months, 89, 3 months, 69. So depending on what you're looking for, this could be something you might be interested in. I feel like they told me to give an honest review. So with my honest review, I don't really mess with a lot of film stuff. And because as a graphic designer and the areas that I'm into, I probably wouldn't use a lot of the effects that they have in there. There'd be limited times where I would use like the effects that I was talking about. So just because of the nature of me as a designer and being lower budget, I think for what I'm getting and using, it'd be a little expensive if I was gonna buy it. But you guys may feel differently. I have friends that are very into film, and if they want to edit stuff to look like film, this is basically your do-it-all film plugin. So you can't go wrong with it if you're really into film and you're really into making stuff look like film. Gives you a lot of like presets and things to use and ways to edit photos and graphics. So there are a lot of reasons that this might be beneficial to you. For me, I think it's a little too pricey for what I'd be getting out of it. That's just my honest review. I will say, if any of you guys are interested in this, you can get a little discount by using my affiliate code. They reached out to me. They sent me the product to review it. They sent me an affiliate code. That affiliate code is GSTAR. So if you wanted to try it, again, there's plugins for DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut, Adobe Premiere, Adobe Photoshop, Lightroom, basically anything you could need. The affiliate code GSTAR will get you 10% off, and I think that applies to everything except for the iOS app that they have. So again, let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree or disagree. If you're interested in this product, you can use that code GSTAR to get 10% off. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you learned something in this video. I hope this was helpful for you, and we'll see you in the next one.